If you want to build powerful AI agent that needs to interact with your data, regardless of what type of data it is, so whether it's images, files, documents, PDFs, or whatever unstructured data it is, then it's extremely important to prepare your data so that way when your AI agents or when you're building your AI agents to interact with your data, gives you the most accurate information. Therefore, the biggest step in this process is preparing your data to be ingested by your AI agent. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that exactly using Vectorize.io, which is an amazing platform that's built exactly for this purpose, to prepare all of your unstructured data so that way your AI agents can retrieve the most accurate information during that interaction. If you're not familiar with any of these terms, don't worry about it. I'm going to explain everything and I'll show you step by step what to do and how to do this using Vectorize.io, which gives you actually a free account that you can use and test things out. All right, without any further delay, let's jump right into the video. So let me go ahead and start with a demo to show you exactly how amazing this AI agent is. And then we're going to go ahead and build this thing step by step. So on the right hand side right here, you can see my Vectorize.io interface. We're going to come back and take a look at this. But on the left hand side, I've created this AI agent that is connected to my Pinecone vector database, which I uploaded all of that data into my Pinecone vector database through this Vectorize.io pipeline, RAG pipeline. And to give you an idea of what these documents or what the data is. So I basically uploaded a bunch of different documents about crypto, so Ethereum, Bitcoin, and a bunch of other stuff. So some of these PDFs are very complex. It has a bunch of charts, it has a bunch of images, it has a lot of text. So this is not just like a simple text PDF, right? And it's not one, there's several of them here, right? So one is, two of them are from Fidelity Digital Assets. So this is a very comprehensive report. And then I also uploaded a few images. So for example, this is a price history of Bitcoin by Investopedia that shows kind of the history of the price of Bitcoin kind of going up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually test this specific point, for example, for this image, right? So we're going to see and ask this AI agent that, hey, I want to know exactly at this, so let's see, end of 2013, which is right here. Yep, end of 2013, what was the price of Bitcoin that it spiked at, right? So it should return 1238. And as you can imagine, this is a very complicated ask because we're asking actually a particular piece of information that's inside this image. So therefore, the vector database or the data that needs to go inside this vector database needs to be extremely accurate in order for our AI agents to retrieve that. So let's go ahead and access so that way I can show you exactly how powerful this thing is. And then I'm going to come back and explain how this is possible. So I'm going to go back to my N8N here, to my AI agent, and let me maximize this so you can see this better. All right, perfect. So right now this AI agent is just essentially interacting with our Pinecone vector database, and I will show you exactly what's going on in a little bit. But this is just a personal assistant. I'm just telling it to, hey, you need to retrieve the information from this AI agent, right? Or from this vector database. So let's go ahead and type right here. So we need to ask it to, what was the price of Bitcoin at the end of 2013? Or I should ask it, what was the price of Bitcoin that got spiked or something like that at the end of 2013? So there you go. I said, what did the price of Bitcoin spike to at the end of 2013, right? So if I press enter now, so now this should retrieve that information from our Pinecone vector database and use that image. There you go. So at the end of 2013, the price of Bitcoin spiked at approximately $1,238. And if we go back to our image here, that's exactly what that is, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at inside our logs here. So if I go to inside Pinecone vector database, there you go. As you can see, so it's showing that it retrieved this information from this image description. It says line chart title, price history of Bitcoin shows the price fluctuation over time from 2010 to 2024. The chart includes annotation highlighting significant price points, right? So there you go. It retrieved it exactly from this particular image. And again, this inside this vector database, inside this Pinecone vector database, I've uploaded all of these documents. So not just this image, right? I've uploaded a couple of images. One is the top 20 entities that hold the Bitcoin. And then I've also uploaded a bunch of other documents, all these complex documents by Fidelity. So it's not just retrieving and going to this particular area, right? It knows exactly which specific document to go and retrieve that information. So let's go ahead and ask it another thing. So for example, if I just ask it something related to, if I ask it something related to a text, that's very easy to do. But let's go ahead and ask it, for example, the top Bitcoin entities, who holds the most Bitcoins as of November 2024. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Who holds the most Bitcoin as of November 2024? Press enter. So now it should do the same thing. So now it should retrieve that information from the second image, right, that we uploaded. This one in particular, right? This is by Riviera or something like that. But anyway, all right, let's take a look at it here. As of November 2024, the entities holding the most Bitcoin are as follows: Coinbase, right? So Coinbase is first, Satoshi Nakamoto is second, and Binance is third, right? So Coinbase holds 2,256,000 Bitcoins. So now let's take a look at this and chart to make sure that's correct. So there you go. Coinbase holds, this is the number one. It says it holds 2,256,000. Perfect. So that's exactly accurate. So now if we go to the logs again, there you go. So now it's same thing. It went to this particular image. It says Bitcoin top 20 entities November 2024, right? It retrieved it from this exact same spot. That's exactly what we needed. So this is the power of ingesting or preparing your data in a very accurate way, so that way your AI agents can retrieve this. Believe me, I've built a bunch of RAGs or agents inside n8n that has access to Pinecone Vector Database. I've used it. I've used workflows to upload information or our documents inside Vector Database. And believe me, none of it is as accurate as this particular method that I'm going to show you using Vectorize.io. And the reason why this is so accurate, specifically when it comes to images and complex data, is because it actually uses a very particular vision model, right? So that's why I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, so that way you are preparing your data in a very accurate fashion for your AI agents to seamlessly interact with it and give you the most accurate information. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you the first step is how to create your RAG or deploy your RAG pipeline. And then afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what to do as far as connecting this to your own vector database or to your own AI agents inside of your n8n. All right, so first thing you need to do is you need to come to Vectorize, and I'm going to put the link in the description. Make sure you click through that, so it'll bring you exactly right here. So once you create an account, again, it gives you a free account. You can create a free account that gives you up to 1,500 pages, and that's plenty for you to test things around. So once you're here, you're just going to click on Build RAG Pipeline. All right, so once you click on that, it will bring you right here. So I'm going to explain what these sections are, but just quickly, what RAG stands for is Retrieval Augmented Generation. So what this RAG pipeline, what this means is that you need to be able to figure out ways to put it in very simple terms, obviously, to give it a source, whether that's documents, whether that's scraping your sites, or any other information that you're trying to upload for your AI agents to be able to interact with. So this pipeline just means that preparing your data and uploading it into a vector database, so that way your AI agents can interact with. So that's basically the simplest way to do this. But the first thing we need to do is we need to click on source here, because this is where we need to upload or give our documentation or our data that we're uploading. So once you click on that source, Vectorize already have a bunch of integration with, like, your Google Drives of the world, the Firecrawl, Amazon. So there's a lot of integration here depending on what you're doing. Go ahead and select that. I'm going to actually show you later on in the next few videos how to do this web crawler, because this is very, very powerful as well, where you can actually grab information from website. But for this particular, I'm going to use our Google Drive here. So make sure you're on this left-hand side at the bottom, it says Google Drive OAuth. Make sure you click on this, because this is the simplest way to get your Google Drive connected. So if you don't have, since I've already had my Google Drive connected here, but if you don't have it, you're just going to click on Add New Connector. You're going to name it, right? So I'm just going to say Test, and you're going to click on Authorize, and this is going to pull up your Google OAuth. You're going to click on this. So you're going to click on Continue. Obviously mine already have that, so that's why I said Vectorize already has some access, but I'm just going to click on Continue here. So this will pull up all of that information inside your Google Drive. So this is very important. I would suggest whatever you're trying to do as far as loading documentation, make sure you create a folder first and upload all your information there. So if I double click on this particular folder, this crypto, so all of this stuff that I showed you earlier, all these files, I've already uploaded to my Google Drive. So all you have to do is just basically select all. You're just going to click on select, and this will select all of that, all of those files, and it's going to upload it into your Google Drive here. And since I've already done that, I already did that right here. It says crypto, so I just named it crypto because that's what it's related for. So yours is going to look something similar to that. So once you click on that folder, it will bring you right here. This file extensions, this is just showing you that these are the different file extensions that are available for you to upload inside your RAG pipeline here. So as you can see, you can do PDFs, documents, PowerPoint, spreadsheets, emails, JSON, CSV files, images, and all sorts of other amazing stuff. So once you do upload your source here, the next step is going to be the extractor and chunker here. So this is very important, the strategy here. So this by default, it shows fast, but there's several options here. So fast is basically if your data is just simple text, right? So you can choose that. It's very easy, very simple. But Vectorize Iris, so this is their vision model. So this is a fine-tuned vision model for advanced extraction. Just like I suggested in the name, if you have complex data like images and PDFs, for example, that has charts and images inside it, then this is very important to choose either Vectorize Iris or the mix. However, one thing to point out, the Vectorize Iris, because this is a fine-tuned vision model, this is a bit more expensive compared to your regular one. But the best thing to do, in my opinion, is just use mix. And what this does is basically it will use the fast extractor for your text documents and then Iris for the media or images and stuff like that. So choose the mix. And then the chunking strategy, you can just chunk either by paragraph, sentence, or fixed, but I'm just going to leave everything as default. You can use the chunk size tokens at 500 with an overlap or 50. And if you want to know more information about what this means or how to select the right chunking size, they actually have a RAG evaluation here on the left-hand side. So if I click on this, this will pull up all of the information related to the most accurate chunking strategies to produce the most relevant and accurate results for your vector indexes. Again, if you're not familiar with this, I did a video on this earlier. It's called RAG Evaluation, Build Better RAG. So make sure you check that out in my previous video where I go through actually and show you exactly how to use this RAG evaluation when you're uploading your data into Vectorize, which gives you all these different options that you can compare, and whatever is the best option for you, it will actually show you that. So make sure you check that out. But anyways, going back to our RAG pipeline here, let me, actually all right here, there you go. So just leave for this one because I'm just leaving that 500 tokens per chunk size and the 50 overlap. That's good to go because I'll be using my OpenAI here. So for the embedder, this is also, you get the option to either use the Vectorize's built-in embedder, or you can bring your own AI platform. Again, I'm going to do another tutorial on how to use this built-in because I think this is probably the simplest one to do. But for this particular use case, because we're going to be using our AI agents inside n8n, I'm just going to click on bring your own AI platform. So you have different AI platforms you can choose from. Obviously, OpenAI is the most popular one, so I'm just going to use OpenAI. So here I've already connected my account. But if you don't, yours is going to look blank. You're just going to click on add new connector. You're going to name it. And all you have to do is click on this API key, go to your OpenAI account, create a new API key and copy that, paste it right here. Very, very simple, very easy integration. Then you're going to click on create OpenAI integration and it's going to look exactly like this, right? It's going to have this little green thing, which means that it's connected there. All right, so I'm going to click on this and now this will pull up the embedding model that you're trying to use, right? So there are several, obviously for OpenAI family of embedding models, there are several options here. I'm just gonna choose V3 small. And then now here's where you can choose a vector database here, right? So same thing, if you're using the built-in vector database by Vectorize, you can choose that. Or again, same thing, you can bring your own vector database. And Vectorize already has integration with a bunch of existing vector database like your Pinecones of the world, the Elastic, Supabase, Weaviate. So these are the most popular ones. I'm going to use my Pinecone. So I'm going to click on Pinecone here. Same thing, if you don't have it connected, you're going to click on add new container. You're going to name it and then also create your API key inside your Pinecone vector database. If I go to my Pinecone here, log in. So here's where you will go ahead and on the left-hand side, click on API key. You're going to copy that. You're going to come back, let me get rid of this, and paste it right here in the bottom, and you will have your Pinecone connected. So it's going to look like this now. Same thing with this little green thing here. Okay. So I'm going to click on Pinecone here. And once you do that, so this is where now you need to enter your index name, right? So how do you do that? You go back to your Pinecone, you come to your indexes, you click on create new index. So name your index. This is very important. Make sure you're selecting the correct embedding model here. So if you're correcting the text embedding 3 small, make sure that matches exactly right here on your embedder that you have selected on your Vectorize, okay? Because otherwise it's gonna throw a conflict. So you're gonna select this, you're gonna leave everything as it is, and you're just gonna click on create index. Since I've already done that, I've named it vectorize. So what I'm gonna do is just select vectorize, there you go. Namespace, you can leave it as blank. So now once you do this, you're going to essentially deploy this RAG pipeline. I think this is going to create a mess because it's going to re-vectorize everything, but that's fine. I just want to show you exactly what to do or how this thing works. Once you click on deploy RAG, this is going to create a pipeline. This is going to go ahead and do its thing. It's going to process all your documentation, and your index is next time when you come in. Obviously, initially when you create it, this is going to look blank, but after this deployment is complete, then it's going to look exactly like this, meaning that all of this information is now being chunked. And as you can see, mine's already filled in, obviously, because I did it earlier, but yours is going to look, after this deployment is complete, it's going to look exactly like this. So you're going to let this thing finish its process. This is going to take like a couple of minutes, depending on how many documents you're uploading, right? So mine was about 7 different files. So it took a couple of minutes, but if you're doing multiple files, or if there's the pages inside the files is a lot, then this is gonna take a little longer. So there you go. As you can see, total pages 122, total vectors 123. So this is gonna go ahead and populate that. It's gonna finish the population, and then once it's completed, then you can come back and check that out. So on the left hand side, you'll see the different progress here. All right, perfect. So it looks like everything got completed. On the left hand side, you can see the integration help here, and you can see the population started, the population completed, and this is all the information that you can see right here. So you can click on overview on the left hand side, and this will show you the different documents that were created. The initial load is what we looked at earlier. The RAG sandbox, this is great because now you can already now interact with your documents right here from the sandbox. So if I move this to the top real quickly, so this is powered by Grok. So you can choose actually which type of large language model you are trying to choose. By default, it's going to select this Llama 3.370B, but you can choose GPT-4o or any other LLM, and you can set the temperatures in top P, but I'm just going to leave it as default, this 3.3 Llama 3.370B. So now let's go ahead and ask the same question inside this RAG pipeline, and then we can go ahead and check it out or test it out again here. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to copy this, come back here. Actually, I don't know if this is going to work because I re-vectorized this. Actually, copied the answer. So this might throw an error, or it might not give it an accurate, but whatever, let's try it out. So what did the price of Bitcoin spike at the end of 2013, right? So now this will go ahead and there you go, perfect, right? It actually showed you exactly the chunking here. So it says the price of Bitcoin spiked $238 in 2013. Chunk 1, this shows you exactly which chunk it retrieved that information from, so that way you can even further take a look at the different options or the different details that you can have access to from this particular section right here. Anyways, you can see on the left hand side, so these are all the different chunks that it grabbed this information from, and it gives you even the average similarity and the relevancy as well. And you can see it says the Bitcoin price history final 3 blah blah blah, whatever it may be, and this is the image, right? This WEPB is the image of this exact thing right here. So on the top it says Bitcoin's price history final blah 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 .WPE. So it grabbed the information from this exact image, which is exactly what we wanted, right? So as you can see, this is extremely powerful and way better than what's out there in the market right now. So now if I go ahead and same thing, now go to my AI agent. So I can grab this if I go to my community here, go to classroom section. So this is part of, I've done a deep dive topic on different sections like full stack web apps, voice agents, vector databases. So right here, I'm just basically grabbing this Pinecone template. So if I click on JSON template here, I'm just going to download this. Okay, so I'm a new workflow. I'm going to grab this import from file. And here we go. So now we can go ahead and click on open chat. So what this is doing is, this is just very simple. You have an AI agent that is connected to a chat trigger, and the system messages. You can even get rid of this because by default it says system messages your personal assistant. I'm adding a Pinecone vector database here. So the way to do that, you click on tools, you search for Pinecone vector store, and this you just grab, you select your credentials. You create, if you don't have a credential, you just click on create new credential, and you'll connect it to your vector database, your Pinecone vector database. The operation is going to be retrieve documents as tools for agent. The name, you're gonna just give this thing a name, and then you're gonna say exactly for the model how to use this thing. So in my case, I'm saying use this tool to retrieve information about anything related to crypto, right? And you're gonna select the exact same Pinecone index that you created inside your vector database that you connected to your vectorize. So make sure you're selecting the correct one, and you're gonna leave everything as it is. For the embedding model, make sure you're selecting the same exact model inside your vectorize and then also inside your Pinecone vector database, which in our case, we use the text embedding 3 small, and then everything else, you're gonna leave the same. The chat model, I'm just using GPT-4o mini, but you can use any other chat model as far as the GPT or the OpenAI family. So let's go ahead and test this thing out. I'm just gonna ask it the same thing. What did the price of Bitcoin spike at the end of 2013? So let's go ahead and ask it the same question. I just want to see if it works and gives you the same result, and perfect. Looks accurate. Go to vector database, and it's retrieving it from that exact image right there, right? So everything looks like it's working fine. Same thing, make sure you go inside your vectorize here. You can play around in the RAG sandbox so that way you can ask it more questions. This is a very, very powerful tool, and most importantly, very easy to navigate, and it has this nice little user interface, so that way you don't have to build anything inside your n8n to upload these documents there. The reason why I'm going to be utilizing vectorize is because, like I said, it's extremely powerful, and the next most important thing I think is going to be upserting. So if you're familiar with building AI agents or RAG agents, then one of the biggest headaches is replacing the data or replacing the vectors that are inside your vector database with new data. And in our case, if we ever have our Google Drive connected to a vector database that we have already uploaded information or uploaded data, then if something changes, then we need to basically identify the metadata and manually replace it or re-vectorize that exact piece of information that's already sitting inside vector database, because otherwise it gives you inaccurate information. So in the next video, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna utilize this schedule, which is basically a very easy way to kind of set your RAG pipeline and then have a sync schedule that's going to be, whether it's weekly, monthly, or daily, that's going to make sure it's gonna replace and upload the most relevant information inside your vector database, so that way you can easily interact with it in a very accurate and simple manner. But that's coming next, so make sure you like and subscribe, because I've got a bunch of other videos that I'm going to be doing in vectorize, and which is going to be very powerful, especially if you're building for your clients or for real life projects. Then vectorize is, I think, the best choice moving forward. So make sure you like and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a bit more details and more tutorials on this particular use case. Thanks for watching again, and make sure you join the Skool community if you are serious about learning how to build powerful AI agents, including RAG, because this is a place for us to all collaborate on these complex projects. So make sure you check the Skool out. Put the link in the description. Hopefully I'll see you inside.